Oh, one more change I forgot to do. There we go. Okay. So let's start with sitting in whatever position is comfortable. And that might be with the legs crossed. It might be in a kneeling position. It might be lying down. What's most important is that you can feel comfortable and that you're not in pain so that you can focus on your breath. And once you choose a position, close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. If you feel the urge to sigh, you're welcome to make sound. And just start to notice the inhalation and exhalation. And as you continue to notice your breathing, feel that sense of your awareness, your consciousness, descending into the body and into the sit bones, into the legs, becoming aware of the base of your body. Becoming aware of the earth beneath you, supporting you. Mother Earth is always there for us 100% of the time. And in this moment, you can lean your weight into her. Feel breath in the area of your solar plexus, in the area of the abdomen and belly. If you like, you can visualize fire, the digestive fire that lives in the solar plexus. And it offers us will, motivation, and the ability to digest and integrate experiences and to break down the foods into nutrients that our body needs. Bring your awareness into the area of your heart. Relax the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists. Element associated with the heart center is air. Let's feel a sense of openness. See if you can feel breath at the heart. Wind is not something we can see, but we can feel it. Heart is the same. You can feel when someone speaks from their heart. We know when we're closed off from our own hearts. Bring the awareness into the throat center, making any adjustments to your neck. awareness up into the head and skull. Resting your attention between the eyebrows. Relaxing the facial muscles. And bring your awareness to the crown of the head. Space above the head. Space all around your body. And when you're ready, we'll gently open the eyes and begin some movement. So we'll start with moving the arms. Inhale, reaching upward. Bring your palms to gently touch, if that's possible. If not, no problem. And exhale, lowering down. Inhale, upward. Feel the stretch for the spine when you lift your arms. Exhale down. We'll change it slightly this time. Inhale up. We're going to interlock, press the palms upward, and continue to stretch and reach. So you're stretching the back muscles, the arms, the front of the body. Keep breathing. And then release. We're going to do a seated version of cat. So bringing your hands onto your knees or thighs. Inhale, you're going to tip your pelvis forward, lean your heart forward, look up to the sky. And exhale, leaning back, rounding the spine, looking towards your navel wall. And continue this movement just to warm up the spine, moving at your own pace. And one more time. And back into neutral. Today we're going to do some massaging movements. We're going to start with massaging our shoulder with our right arm. We're just going to massage your left shoulder. And we can do self-massaging with clothes as we are now. And we can also do it just before you take a shower or bath with some oils. It's really good to soften the skin. Make sure you circle in both directions. This kind of massaging really helps to nourish the joint tissue. And it also helps us gain an appreciation of our bodies. Let's try the other side. So you're going to circle around the shoulder joint. You want to warm up the joint. Bring a little bit of TLC to our bodies. Opposite direction. And self-massage, which is a practice that comes from Ayurveda, is also a way of working with the skin as an organ, helping to nourish the skin, the lymphatic system, and the skin as a detox organ, and as a delivery mechanism for medicine. So now let's roll our shoulders, making circles up, back, and down, harmonizing breath with the movement. So you're releasing on the exhale. And then the opposite direction. We're going to spend some time massaging and nourishing our joints, not only with massage and movement, but also with our attitude and with touch. And relax. So now we're going to do some movements, massaging for the elbow. So with your right hand on your left elbow, just rub. It can be vigorous or it can be gentle. Think of giving your body loving attention, loving touch. In the opposite direction, the other benefit of self-massage is it's very warming. So a really nice thing to do in the wintertime, where maybe our circulation slows down. And so now let's try the other side where you're rubbing your right elbow with your left hand. And in both directions, so making circles the opposite way. And now we're going to work with elbow joints. So open the arms wide, inhale, bend, exhale, straighten. Just continue a few times, bending, straightening. And now we're going to change the movement. So now we go upward, inhale, and bend. Just to warm up gently the elbow joints. Just a few times. If you need to rest, you can, changing it slightly. Open, palms facing up, straightening the arms, bend. A few times in this way. One more time. Relax. So now we're going to do the wrist. Take your left wrist and make a circle with your right hand a few times in both directions, giving a little bit of TLC to your wrist. And we'll switch sides. So now you're rubbing your right wrist in both directions. And then we'll do an exercise for the wrist where you're reaching the arms out, pressing the thumbs and making a circle. Just to warm up the wrist joints. Both directions. You can hear the cracking of my wrist joints. Then relax. You can tell that even these movements for elbows and wrists also work the arms and shoulders. Now we're going to do our fingers. So stretch your fingers and then make a fist, pressing the thumb in. So you open and close the hands like you're pumping the hands. And we're going to do this for a little longer. If your arms get tired, you can rest. And then relax. I like to close my eyes and just feel things from the inside. Maybe you can feel the circulation, the movement of blood. So now let's get some movement into the hips. So let's bring the feet out in front. Let's start with this way of moving. So knees are going to move from one side to the other, and the movement might be small. It might be bigger. We all have a different range. And you're working with whatever range is where there's still ease. And then coming into butterfly pose, You can sit with a prop or sit on the ground, knees moving up and down, where we're now getting circulation directly into the hip joints. You're probably also noticing sensation in other parts of the legs, maybe the back even. So before we continue with hip movement, we're going to segue into hip massage. So let's come into kneeling. It's going to make it a little bit easier to get into the surface of the hip. And let's start with circling the hip joint with our palms. And this is something you can do before you shower or bathe. Traditionally, it's done with sesame oil, which is very warming, but it can also be done with a neutral oil or a cooling oil. Opposite direction, so sunflower oil is neutral, almond oil is neutral. And now we're going to make fists with the hands, and we're going to tap into the hip muscle, the buttock, around your tailbone, and into the hip joint at the sides. You can do it vigorously. This is a really good workout for the hands, the arms, I should say. If you get tired, not to worry. We're giving ourselves a nice massage. So now let's move into half butterfly. Left leg extends, right foot against the left thigh, the knee moving up and down, just like we did before. If you'd like, you can also reach the arm upward and reach forward, just somewhere along your leg or towards your foot. I'm noticing with all this massaging, I'm feeling very warm. My breath is a little shorter. It's a good workout to do self-massage. And of course, you can always tone down the pace or rhythm, tone down the intensity, and find a way to participate that works for you. So now if you're reaching forward, you'll reach up towards the sky and relax that arm, and we'll switch sides. So our left foot is against the right thigh. The knee is moving up and down. And then if you'd like, you can reach the arm upward and reach forward like we did before, or you can just focus on the knee. If you're reaching forward, reach up to the sky and then relax. Now we're going to massage the legs. We're going to start with the backs of the legs. So you're pressing, tapping, using Mother Earth and the solidity of the earth. Now making fists with the hands. You're going to tap along the legs. The sides of the legs, the IT band. the thighs, the inner thighs and the thighs in general. And then we're going to move into nice massaging movements around the knees. Massaging around your kneecap. Nice, tender, loving circles around your knees and in both directions. And then we're going to massage our foot, our right foot. You can massage with your fingers, the palm of your hand, your knuckles. Again, this is something you can do before you shower, to use oil on your skin. And before you shower, so that when you apply hot water, the pores open and the oil can sink deeper into the skin. So let's massage the left foot, whatever way you like. I found that I used to have I didn't like my feet. And through the practice of self-massage, I really came to appreciate not only my feet, but my whole body. It's a very, very beautiful practice, self-massage. So now we're going to work our toe joints and ankle joints. We'll start with making a fist with the toes, spreading the toes wide. Stretching our toe joints, working our toe joints. And now we'll move it into the ankles, pointing and flexing, engaging the hamstring muscles. And then we move it into a circle. So the whole of the ankle joint is working. And then the opposite direction. And then we're done. We're done with massaging and warming up the joints. So let's come on to the hands and knees. We're going to work with the spine again, rounding, drawing the abdomen towards your low back. Inhale, extending. Let's move at your own pace. Feel the movement through the spine, starting with the pelvis. This undulation or wave. One more time. Now we're going to change the movement and isolate the pelvis. So then the spine is neutral. And you're going to tip the pelvis as if you're pointing the tailbone upward. And then you're going to tuck the pelvis, pointing the tailbone downward. And we're just working and isolating the pelvis. This engages the muscle at the front of the pelvis and the core. One more time. And then we'll come into a neutral position and come back into hip movement, lifting the right knee and ankle out to the side, holding for as long as it feels appropriate, and then lowering down and alternating. This engages a muscle that sometimes gets deactivated when we sit too much. The human body was not designed for sitting in a chair for 8 hours. And if you have that kind of work, then it's really important to activate the muscles that can get turned off with too much sitting. Let's do this one more time on both sides. And then sink back to the heels. Rest the chest towards your thighs, head towards the ground in child's pose. You're welcome to use props at any time with any pose or movement. So next we're going to come onto the front of the body and do some work for the back. So let's start with elbows wide, chin or forehead on both palms, and moving the legs one at a time towards you and away from you. When you've done an equal number on both sides, bring your arms alongside you, palms facing down, chin or forehead down, and we'll start to do some back strengthening and back bending. Lifting the whole body as you breathe in, feeling the contraction through the back of the body, even the shoulder blades pressing together, buttocks, backs of the legs, lower on the exhale. Continue this movement at your own pace. Use your own endurance and capacity as a guide to how long to hold each pose. And then you can complete, let it go, rest. You can turn your palms to face upwards, the shoulders relax towards the mat. Let's practice cobra. Hands under the shoulders, elbows tuck in. Press your pelvis towards the floor and lift the upper body. Breathing in cobra. Lowering on the exhale. One more time. Lifting in cobra. Breathing in cobra. Lowering. And just remembering that your movement might look different from mine. Let's press back to the heels into child's pose, adding any supports or props to make this more comfortable. Coming up into kneeling. So we're going to come into a sequence of poses. This is like a half sun salutation, so we'll do it together a few times. We come up onto the knees, and already this is a back bend because as you press the pelvis forward, you'll notice how it brings the spine into a back bend. So press the pelvis forward and reach your arms up. So this is the first, second position. Then we come onto the hands and knees and come into one round of cat. And we'll walk the hands forward, shift the weight forward. You can stay on your knees in a half push-up position or come into a full push-up position. Strengthening arms and shoulders and the core. Lowering onto the front of the body and coming into cobra, cobra that we've been practicing. Breathing in cobra so that you're not holding the breath. You can come out of each position when it feels right for you. So holding for the length of time that works. Pressing back to the heels to rest. Coming up into kneeling, which is where we're going to start. This is our first position. And then we lift up, press the pelvis forward. First position is a back bend. Then we come into cat pose. And then we come into a pose for strength, half or full plank. Then onto the belly and into cobra. And back to the heels. And we'll do this. Let's do it 3 times together. If you need to slow it down or do less, you're welcome to adjust the practice to suit your own body. So you'll see I'm moving through each of these positions. Breathing throughout the movements, throughout the poses. And completing by pressing back to the heels. And the next round, if you're ready for it. And the last round. Again, you're always welcome to adjust, modify the pace. Modify how you participate. And we're going to stay in child's pose a little bit longer. When you're ready, we'll come onto the hands and knees. You can come into a low version of downward dog. Reaching both arms forward and stretching the spine in this way. Or you can come into the full version. And if you're in downward dog in the full version, you can Pedal the feet if that's helpful. So we're going to come into a standing forward fold. So however you would like to make your way into standing on both feet with the upper body folded forward over the legs, arms, shoulders, head relaxed. And then belly draws in as we slowly roll up into standing. And once you come up into standing, let's take a few moments to be here and to breathe. So we're going to next work on legs, strengthening the legs, stretching the legs, the lower part of the body. So we're going to start with something simple just to warm ourselves up. So lift your heels up. You're on your toe mound. Lower your heels down. If you come out of balance, not to worry. That's sometimes what's part of what this movement teaches, is it teaches balance. And sometimes we don't get things perfect the first time. So you're going to continue this movement of lifting and lowering the heels. And you're going to add the arms. Good. Hopefully you can feel the tone in the calf muscles, in the feet, in the legs. Great. So now we're going to invigorate the body with toe walking and heel walking. So I'll demonstrate and we'll do it together. Interlock your hands at the crown of the head. Reach the arms upward, come up onto your toes, and now you're going to walk around the room. Around the space that you're in. This is called toe walking. It's going to increase circulation to the whole body. It's activating, energizing the legs, the feet. If you need to take a rest, you can. Let's come into a neutral standing position so you can stabilize your breathing. And then come back into standing. So next we're going to do heel walking. And while you do heel walking, I'm going to go to the bathroom because I didn't time my liquid consumption very well this morning. So you're going to reach upward, you're going to lift the toes, you're going to walk on your heels, you're going to walk around the room, and I'll be back in a moment. Excellent, thank you. for your patience. So you're back in a neutral and standing position. And now we're going to do some strength for the legs. So let's walk the feet wide apart, approximately the width of one of your legs. Rest your hands on your hips. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to hinge from your hips, hinging forward as far as you're able to hinge. And when you reach that point, you can release your arms and relax your head. And if you need a prop to rest your hands into, you can use a pillow or something. So take a few moments in this wide forward fold. And now we're going to walk our hands towards our right foot. Turn both of our feet. And allow the left knee to come down so that we're in a lunge position. Maybe your hands will reach the ground, or maybe you want to rest your hands on your knee or thigh. Some of you might want to reach your arms upward to the sky. See what works best for you to be in lunge. Steady eye gaze, steady breathing, lots happening in lunge, both in terms of leg strength and flexibility. Let's bring the hands down, lift the left knee, walk it back through center, and now walk it towards the other side. So we turn our feet to the left, we bring our right knee down, and find the variation that you'd like to do in your lunge on this side. So we're going to continue with leg strengthening, leg flexibility, coming back to center. Let's be in center for a little bit. So resting your head down. If you have a prop that makes it easier for you to rest your hands into, you can have that. And take 3 deep breaths. And after the 3rd breath, we're going to walk it back over towards our right foot, turn both of our feet, let the back knee rest down, and now try a different version of lunge. Whether it's hands down, hands on the hips, hands on the thigh, arms reaching up, just something different. Different version of lunge. And then let's try that on the other side. So lift your left knee, walk it back through center, over to the left side, turn your feet, right knee down, and coming into our other side of our lunge. Leg strength, leg flexibility, so much going on in lunge. So now let's come back through center. We're going to take a few breaths in center. We'll do one more round. I often think of yoga practice like affirmations for the body. They're reminding the body to engage, to activate certain muscles, reminding the body of the range of movement that it has. and reminding us that we have a body, that we live in a body. We can sometimes forget. So now let's walk it over to our right foot. Bring the left knee down and a third version of lunge. What's going to be your third version? Or maybe you do the same version. And then let's do the other side. So now we walk it back through center, over towards the left foot, the right knee drops down. And we do our third version. And then bring the hands down, walk it back through center. And now we're going to bring the feet into parallel by bringing the heels together, sliding the toes towards one another until your feet are hip width apart, and then we'll slowly roll up into standing. And once you come up, reaching the arms all the way up, palms can touch or palms can be apart. Breathing as we're stretching the whole body. And then lowering the arms on the exhale of your breath. So we're going to do a little bit of work for the core, deep core muscles, abdomen area. And then we'll move into slowing things down and moving into relaxation. So come to the front of your mat and come down onto your bottom. We're going to start easy and work our way up. And if easy is enough of a workout for you, you can stay with the first variation. So hands under the knees, I'm sitting nice and tall, and I'm leaning back and letting my right foot lift. And just noticing the muscles engage in order to make this possible. And then I lean forward, foot comes down. I get nice and tall again with the back. I lean back and my left foot lifts. And I notice all the muscles that are engaging to make this possible. Breathing throughout this. Now you can continue in this way where you're alternating, or you can also lean back and lift your feet off the floor. You can also bring your feet a little bit higher. So you have 3 different options here. A 4th option is to release your hands. I'm not quite there yet. I'm still practicing this version. You hold for as long as you have the endurance and capacity, and you rest when you need to. And we are all working on the core in our own way and in our own capacity. And one more, once or twice more, just one last round. Good. So now we're going to roll onto our backs. If you'd like, you can also roll down. So however you want to get onto your back. And once you get laid down, relax your arms, relax your legs. We're going to do a little bit more core work, some deep core and some superficial abdomen work. There's different layers of muscles. There's layers deep in the core, there's superficial muscles, and then there's also, we want to engage different muscle groups. So bend your knees. We're going to do pelvic tilts. And in tilting the pelvis, think of using less of your back muscles, less of your buttocks, more of the muscles at the front of the pelvis, between your pubic bone and your navel. Those are really the muscles we want to engage. If you can't feel or tune into these muscles, not to worry. Just bring your attention and concentration. So we're going to press our low back into the floor, tucking the pelvis. And then we're going to lift our low back off the floor, tilting the pelvis. You're going to move at your own pace. Try to feel the contraction and stretch for the muscles in the pelvis. So now come into a neutral position. We're going to lift the pelvis, not as high as we can, just a little bit. We're going to press your low back into the floor and lift your pelvis. We're going to work again with pelvic muscles. So you're going to lift your right toes off the ground. See if you can feel a tightening or engagement across the hip bones. Lower your right toes down, lift your left toes off the ground. Lower your left toes. You're going to do this a few times. We're really trying to engage the muscles at the front of the pelvis. When you've done an equal number on both sides, you're going to lift the heel. Lower the heel, lifting the left heel. So you're going to alternate. Today I'm feeling it in the legs more than the core. But we're trying to feel the stability actually come from the core. We'll do an equal number on both sides and then lower down. And rest. So now we're going to work some upper muscles. Extend your legs. Interlock your hands behind your head. Point your elbows up to the sky. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, lift your head forward. We're engaging, contracting the upper abdominals. Lower down. So you want to feel a contraction in the abdomen, and especially the upper abdomen. So just continue this movement where you exhale and lift. You're holding the contraction for as long as you're able to without creating strain, and lowering down. One more time. Good. Relax your arms. Last one. There's two variations. I'll give you both. You can decide which one suits you best. The first one is with the knees bent and moving one leg at a time. The right knee towards you extends upward and lowers down. And you're doing it slow enough that you're really trying to feel the stability in the abdomen and pelvis throughout this movement. You're also going to do the opposite direction. So we're going to try reversing the direction. And again, the focus is in stability in the abdomen and pelvis as you move the leg. Let's try the other side. One of the things that creates stability is that as I'm moving my left leg, my right foot is pressing into the floor to create stability in the pelvis. You can try the opposite direction. So that's one variation. You can continue with this variation, or some of you might want to do bicycling, both legs moving at the same time, as if you're riding a bicycle. And it takes a lot of strength to really make the movement slow and as big as you're able. And you can also do both directions. And then lower your feet to the floor, relax the abdomen, and relax your breath. We're going to slow things down, coming back to really gentle massaging movements. If you would like to grab some extra layers, the body will cool down. So let's start with knees to the chest and gently rolling from one side to the other, massaging your back. And then let's change it slightly where we're going to circle the knees. So the knees are together, we're circling them, bringing the massage a little more into the area of the tailbone. And you're circling the knees in both directions. And then we're gonna bring the feet up to the sky, widen the knees. So knees are bent, feet facing the sky. And if you'd like, you can add some movement here, or you can stay in this upside down squat. I like to hold on to my big toes. Here, really feel into the low back. Maybe you'll feel a broadening. And then as you're ready, you can release your feet and legs. And we'll work a little bit with the upper back, holding on to each elbow, each palm. If that's not comfortable, hold on to your forearms. And reach the elbows up overhead and then begin circling. So the elbows to one side, down towards your navel, over to the other side. So we're massaging the shoulder area, the upper back, the back of the heart. And then the opposite direction. And then release. And we're going to also come back to those very nourishing movements we did at the beginning of class. This time we'll do it a little bit differently. Palms coming together, rubbing your hands, generating some heat and warmth. And then placing the palms over the pelvis. Just letting your pelvic organs absorb the heat. These are practices of self-love. Rubbing your hands together, generating heat and warmth. When you feel that heat and warmth, placing the palms over the hips, hip bones or hip muscle, somewhere in the area of your hips. Visualize a warm golden light nourishing your hip joints. Rubbing your hands together, generating heat and warmth. And placing the palms over the abdomen, solar plexus, seat of the digestive fire. Rubbing the palms, generating heat and warmth. And placing them over the lungs. In some wisdom traditions, the lungs are said to be the place where we store grief. And when you think of the body position of when we are sad or in grief, it's in the area of the upper back. So applying some love, warmth, healing energy that we can hold space for sadness without carrying it in our hearts. Rubbing the palms, generating heat. And some people, maybe their bodies don't need heat, in which case you can just bring your palms together and you don't have to do the rubbing. And placing both palms over opposite shoulder. Giving yourself a hug. Bringing warmth into the shoulder joints. Rubbing the palms together. And lastly, over the face and eyes. Relaxing the arms, settling into whatever position is comfortable for you for our final resting pose. In the lineage that I practice in, it's known as bliss pose. Anand Asana. Rest your limbs. Rest your back and spine. Take a rest from efforting. Let your heart rest. Sometimes when we're involved in situations that require empathy and compassion, our heart emotionally and energetically is working hard. Rest your heart. Now deepen your breathing. Become aware of the earth beneath you, the space around you, the sky above you. As you wake up movement in the body, begin to stretch the limbs and stretch the spine. And eventually finding your way into a sitting position where we started. And we will end our practice together with a dedication. Just making a note of all that you feel right now, all of the benefits. Visualizing these benefits like a warm sun in the palm of your hands. and offering this sun for the well-being of all, offering these benefits of your practice for the sake of all of life on this planet. Thank you for joining me on this Sunday morning. It's been really lovely to practice with you. I needed it as much as probably you all did, and really enjoyed practicing with you.